To gain people's trust, the integrity of science, especially the scientists who publish their work, is very important. In this lecture video, we'll discuss some of the issues in publication ethics.
Trust is one of the core determinants of a journal's success. Most of the issues and concerns regarding publication ethics are anchored to it. According to Hendricks and Company, in their article entitled Trust in Science and the Science of Trust, published in 2016, the critical characteristics that determine the trustworthiness of a source of science-based information, for example, a scientist or a scientific institution, are their expertise, integrity, and benevolence. Publishing scientific findings is only useful if the readers and benefactors believe it. Kung malinaw na taglay ng sinumang magpapublish ang mga katangiang ito, malaki ang magiging pakinabang ng mga tao sa siyensya. For this lecture, we will only discuss the 6 fundamental ethical issues in publication mentioned in the Springer Nature online article entitled, Publishing Ethics for Journals. These are, data fabrication or falsification, duplicate submission and redundant publication also called, sausage cutting, plagiarism, authorship issues, undeclared conflict of interest, and unethical research practice. The fine difference between fabrication and falsification is that fabrication is making up or manufacturing data, while falsification is manipulating data. Falsification includes manipulating images like micrographs, gels, radiological images, and color reactions. It also includes removing outliers or inconvenient data, changing, adding or omitting data points, and others. Pero pwede namang i-edit ang mga images tulad ng pictures like contrast or brightness, kung ang dahilan lang ay upang maging mas madaling makita at mabasa. As long as it does not affect the actual result of the research. Duplicate submission or publication refers to the practice of submitting the same study to 2 journals or publishing, more or less the same study, in 2 journals. These submissions can be nearly simultaneous or years later. Redundant publication, also described as salami publishing or sausage cutting, refers to the situation in which one study is split into several parts and submitted to 2 or more journals. It is also the publication of findings that have previously been published elsewhere without proper cross-referencing, permission or justification. Self-plagiarism is considered a form of redundant publication. It concerns recycling or borrowing content from previous work without citation. This practice is widespread and might be unintentional. Transparency by the author on the use of previously published work usually provides the necessary information to make an assessment on whether it is deliberate or unintentional.
Plagiarism is when someone presents the work of others as if it was his or her own without proper acknowledgement. There are different degrees of plagiarism. The severity is dependent on various factors: extent of copied material, originality of copied material, position, context, type of material, and referencing or attribution of the material used. However, every case is different, and therefore decisions will vary per case. A good question to ask yourself is this: does it concern an honest mistake, or is there an intentional deviation from the scientific norm? Please note there are many gray areas between honest, questionable, and fraudulent practices. You can also go back to the 3 traits mentioned earlier and ask these questions. Is the person an expert in the field? Does it show the integrity of the person? Was it done due to benevolent motives? The basic concern with authorship is if the one claiming authorship, or even co-authorship, is actually qualified. So one might ask, who is qualified then? Different journals have different rules regarding authorship. However, most requires that authors should have a substantial contribution in 1. The conduct of research, 2. Data analysis, and 3. Writing of the manuscript itself. Also, it should be emphasized that all 3 criteria should be met and not only 1 or 2. A conflict of interest is a situation in which financial or other personal considerations from authors or reviewers have the potential to compromise or bias professional judgment and objectivity. However, having a conflict of interest per se is not the issue, but not declaring them is. Authors and reviewers should declare all conflicts of interest relevant to the work under consideration, that is, relationships, both financial and personal, that might interfere with the interpretation of the work, to avoid the potential for bias. Research that are unethical should not be published, at all. They are not worth publishing.
Aside from the commonly known ethical standards, ethics committees, and animal welfare committees may provide guidance for ensuring ethical research. Hi! Ako po si Pablo. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig.